Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marczell Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marczell Sylver 999 fine silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marczell Sylver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marczell Sylver.
It's Marczell Sylver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
And we are live for real. I mean, it's real. It's not April Fool's real. It's for real, real. I'm Marczell Sylver. Welcome to Marczell Sylver Live. You know, in life, you deal with what emerges. I hope you had an awesome Easter. No, it's not National Transgender Day yesterday. It was Easter. Talking about trying to hijack just about everything. But you know what I do? I just smile and smile. That's what I do. When all the insanity is coming up, as it's going to come up even deeper right now. You know that. It's an election year. So we're going to start saying all sorts of BS. And we don't do drama. We just don't do drama here. And anybody that does drama is immediately booted from the show. So wanted to put you on warning. I'll tell you what else. We got $6,500 up for grabs today when you say the secret word contained inside of this piece of paper. $6,500. And, you know, again, last time we did this, it goes up $500 every single day until somebody wins. You know that. Last time we did this, it got up to $13,500 before Emily Milish won the cash. So it can be done, and it could be you. In addition, when you call in a little bit later, if you know the secret word of the day, you will win $6,500. But if you're the most interesting call of the day, you win 10 ounces of pure Marczell Sylver silver. Marczell Sylver silver. That's all you got to do is see that thing right there. All you got to do is be interesting. So before we get into today's show, you know, one of the themes of life and one of the themes certainly of this show is you deal with what emerges. There's not a whole lot else you can do in life. It is, and I know that's very Zen, except it is, and finding your life less than perfect is a waste of time. This morning, I stepped into the studio, and it appears something's missing, or someone's missing, and we're working through that right now as we figure out what the heck is going on. We're going to start taking your messages. All you got to do is give me a call, and when you give me a call, you go to, let's see, studiomoney.info/live guests. studiomoney.info/live guests. And we'll get you on the air. Our first guest today is somebody I've been very excited to chat with you live with. This guy is amazing. You know, I've been a hypnotist since I was 17 years old. I hypnotized my first subject at 17 because I'd gotten hypnotized at 16, and it was transformational to me, changed my whole life. And what's exciting for me, being an old gangster, maybe even one of the original gangsters, is watching these young, good-looking guys coming up, doing their thing, and having lots of fun with it. I have massive respect for anybody inside of my profession. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm evangelical about what hypnosis can do. Today's guest, you've probably seen him all over. I see his ads all the time. Marczell Klein is a renowned expert whose work at the intersection of hypnotherapy, psychology, and personal development has transformed many lives. In this episode, Marczell is going to show us his insights and his understandings of how he's harnessed the capabilities of the human mind and how he can lead you to unparalleled growth, both personally and in business. Whether you're looking to overcome obstacles, enhance your personal well-being, or unlock your full potential, Marczell's techniques will offer a roadmap to success. So whether you're brand new to the concept of hypnosis and hypnotherapy or psychological techniques, or whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding of personal development, Marczell's expertise and actionable advice, I promise you, will inspire you and empower you to go to new levels. Please, as always, give a nice big Marshall Sylver welcome to Marczell Klein. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Marshall. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm awesome. Glad to see you again.
Yeah.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm actually at home. I'm in LA, so I'm just at my house in my office, hanging out.
What? There we go. That's nice gray rooms, befitting of a hypnotist, I will add.
Yep.
What part of LA are you in?
I'm in Tarzana, Southern
Okay.
Valley.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about you. Obviously, you're a hypnotist, and you've been involved in this kind of work for how long?
So I've been doing this since I'm 18. I'm 25 now. I remember actually seeing you in Las Vegas when I was 18. I went to a seminar and Marshall was speaking, and there were hundreds of people there. And at the end, you just saw everyone mesmerized. Everyone got up and went to the back of the room, and it was awesome. And I remember speaking to you, and I asked you for some advice. You gave me some really solid advice at the time. You told me just
What did I do?
Well, initially you told me, you're like, hey, if you are just 1% better than everyone else in the field, you'll be very successful. And that's exactly what I focused on. I focused on being the best in my skill and my craft. And I really became much more successful than the majority of my peers. So, I appreciate that advice a lot. And also you were extremely sweet, very, very nice. So, if people don't know, Marshall's exactly the same in person as he is now. And he really does care about you. So
I do. I care very much. There was a time when I first became a hypnotist, because I committed fully when I was 23. And I built my show because I had I had an entertainment background in magic. And so the first thing I did hypnotically was my hypnotic show. And I would go out and do my show, and we had phenomenal success. I was doing really well. 23 years old. I was making about $50,000 a week doing the show. And other hypnotists would come into the audience, and I would see them sitting there. This is before recordings. I would see them sitting there with their notepad, just taking notes on everything I did. And then I would get word from other people that they would go and actually just do my show verbatim. They'd use my music, they'd use my lines, they'd use my routines, everything. They started using my look. And initially, I would hire people to go to their show and go be at their show and get up on stage, and halfway through, because they were imitating all my content, just stand up and say, "Hey, Marshall Sylver says knock it off." And then they would leave. And then I realized that that was working against hypnosis. And even though I had a personal grudge, I just said, that's not the right way to handle this. Be bigger than that. And so ultimately what I ended up doing is I said, you know what? Be so cutting edge that they can't knock you off. Just be so far ahead of the game that it's obvious who's playing catch up. And that's kind of the philosophy that I've used since then. I completely embrace other hypnotists and other performers and do whatever I can to enhance their lives. And I remember what it was like to be 25 and looking for my mark in this process and in this world. So I'm very excited for you. First thing I want to say. And secondly, thank you so much for that compliment, because I am the same in the dark as the light. I do want other people to win. So you launched your career early on. You've been doing this, you said, about 7 years now. Obviously, you're from a different demographic, a different age than I am. Tell me, how is hypnosis these days compared to back in the days when I was doing infomercials and all that kind of stuff? What do you see? We've had other hypnotists through our programs. I don't know if you know who Dom the Hypnotist is. Obviously,
yeah, I've seen him. He's doing well too. He has a few big seminars. I've seen him doing like a few hundred people in rooms.
Yeah,
So
in fact, Dom hadn't done any seminars. When he came through my event, that was the first thing I told him. Is I said, how much are you earning? He said, we're doing about 300,000 a month, about 125,000 net every single month. I said, how many live events have you done? He said, we haven't done any. And so I trained Dom to do his first event, and we did it together. I handled everything for him. We carried the weight, we carried the content, we carried the sales, and we had about 70 people in the room and did $850,000 in sales in 2.5 days.
That's
all
amazing.
to his hypnosis-based audience. So I love hypnotists. I love helping hypnotists, and I love showing them how to profit. So, talk to me. What's your approach? What makes you unique?
Yeah, I'll say I do everything very quickly. And, you asked me earlier, what's the difference in today's world than before? I think it's the average attention span is like 54 seconds now, I believe, maybe even shorter. 100 years ago, it was 54 minutes. So it's less. I mean, actually, it's 7 seconds. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's less than 7 seconds now. So everything I do is very fast. And in order to maintain the crowd's attention, or just in general, if I'm hypnotizing people, I have to move fast. So I do everything very quickly. I'm not sure if you ever seen me hypnotize people, but I'll get them to somnambulism in like 60 seconds, and I know you do that as well. And it doesn't really matter who it is. I usually don't even tell them I'm going to hypnotize them. I just call them up and then just, shock them in. And the thing that I think I've done, which is unique as opposed to many others, is I do not care who comes on stage. I'm going to get them a massive result. And I think a lot of hypnotists are scared to do something quickly. I'm all about speed. So I think that's the first thing that I've done that's very unique. The second thing I think I've done that's unique is I've kind of blended stage hypnotism with hypnotherapy in a unique approach. I think a lot of hypnotists, when they call someone up on stage, they're very slow and you lose the crowd. Like if you're sitting there hypnotizing one person and it takes you 30 minutes to do it, it's a bit boring. So it's all about being entertained. I think the best hypnotists in the world, people like hypnotherapists usually say, hey, the best hypnotists are hypnotherapists. I actually disagree. I think the best hypnotists are stage hypnotists. And I've studied hypnotherapy. I've gone to schools for it. I've done years of education in it. And I can tell you that the skill level required from a stage hypnotist is significantly higher because there's layers. There's layers to not losing the audience. There's layers to seeing what's happening on stage. You have to see where the depth is. You kind of have to, be very flexible, sharp, quick on your feet. And, when you just have someone in a chair and you tell them to close their eyes, there's not much feedback you're getting other than, hopefully it worked. So I'm really, really in the world of, hey, if someone really looks to a hypnotist and they want a good hypnotist, they should go to a stage hypnotist. And that would be the credibility. Can this hypnotist hypnotize anyone, anywhere, anytime? If you ask someone who's a hypnotherapist or hypnotist, hey, can you hypnotize me? And they say, oh, not now, not in this context. Odds are they're not that good. And if you have someone who says, let's go right now, and they can do it to you, they can do it in a group, they can do it to 100 people at the same time, then you're speaking to the right person. And that's really why I looked up to what you were doing, especially at the beginning of my career. I was like, yeah, he knows what he's doing. That's what I envisioned hypnosis as. I envisioned hypnosis as, hey, you call someone up, you knock them out, you change their life. Because I saw a friend of mine when I was 18. That's what got me into hypnosis. I got hypnotized before this when I was like 14. Before that, I thought it was a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and I had a massive fear of playing football. But the reason was we had 11 people on our tackle football team. Everyone would get injured every single time. And our coach passed away right after the season. So we dedicated the next season to him, and I didn't really want to play. So I went and got hypnotized by this older lady, and I could not feel the fear. I played the game. I used to have anxiety. I throw up before the games. All my teammates were throwing up before the game, and I felt nothing. I thought this was crazy. And then,
that is crazy. That's a lot of hypnosis.
Yeah, it was like, I think 30 minutes, and it felt like 2 minutes. And that was my first experience ever getting hypnotized. And I had no recollection of what she did. I had total amnesia. And at 18, I go to San Diego State University. There's a hypnotist performing, a stage hypnotist. I forgot who it was. And my friend gets called up on stage. At the end, he's going to...
And what school was this?
San Diego State University. It was in 2017. So in 2017, around March, I see my friend go up on stage, has no confidence. He's never been with a lady before, nothing, not even a kiss. And the hypnotist goes, we're super confident, sends everyone off stage. He comes by, everyone's getting up to leave. And the prettiest girl in this whole auditorium, there's 400 people in this room, walks by, puts his hand out, spins her around, kisses her, and ends up dating her for 3 months. And I said, there's no way this kid who's never had any confidence just changed his life like that. That was crazy. So I said,
that's got to be a theme, because I'll tell you, I got hypnotized when I was 16 in a show, and I thought it was all BS, but I got hypnotized in the show, and I'm a really good hypnotic subject, as are any hypnotists that are really good. They're good subjects because they get it. And so I'm a great subject, and I thought it was BS, but I said, okay, what just happened to me? And then I hypnotized my first subject, a woman that wouldn't have anything to do with me for the previous 3-4 years. We were in the friend zone. And then after I hypnotized her, she sexually wouldn't leave me alone. I mean, it was all over me. And it was in that moment that I devoted my entire life to hypnosis. It was in that moment I said, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
It's funny because I've noticed, I try to separate it now, especially because of the culture and the themes that we have now. But anytime you hypnotize anyone, I think there's an unconscious rapport that you build that you cannot build any other way. I mean, if you hypnotize someone, there's a level of rapport you get with them that you will never get with any other human being.
No, it's a mind meld. And I don't think everybody realizes how powerful that mind meld is. When I was a single man, it was inevitable that again, I've been on stage since I was 7, so I know what it's like to be a celebrity. But when I started doing hypnosis, I used to tell all my rock and roll star buddies, because we were all in our early 20s doing our thing, and all my rock star buddies, would have their groupies. I said, you have no idea what it's like to have groupies until you're a hypnotist. I said they literally, if I made a woman stiff and rigid and stood on her, she would be in love with me for life. And so I was very careful who I stood on. But that's how I met my wife. I met my wife at a seminar. We had 1,000 people in the room, and I picked her out of the audience, and without anybody in the room knowing it, or even her knowing it, I hypnotized her to come ask me out on a date. And so, my entire life has been built around hypnosis. All 3 of my babies were born via hypnosis. No drugs, no doctors, no pain. I have built my fortune via hypnosis, over $600 million just built on reprogramming my brain and becoming a new person. So tell me about your business these days. I see a lot of your ads, and your ads are unconventional, to say the least. They're kind of Tommy Vu, if you remember Tommy Vu. Do you remember that name?
I actually haven't heard of him.
Has anybody ever mentioned that to you?
They've said it. I've heard it a couple times, but I have to look him up. I've actually never seen him.
Yeah, Tommy was a marketer. I mean, he was a real estate investor. He was one of the original people teaching other people on TV how to become real estate investors. But Tommy's basic pitch was he was Asian. I think he was Vietnamese. And I won't. This is not the insult. This is my imitation of his voice. Come to my seminar. You want hot girls? Come to my seminar. You want expensive car? Come to my seminar. And he did huge numbers. And so, when I was watching that, one of the things that occurred to me is how many people that English is their first language make it so damn hard they never succeed. Here's a guy from another country coming to this country, working hard, working his tail off, not caring about his accent, not caring about anything, and just crushing. And so for me, when I started watching your ads, the first thing I thought was, he's taking a unique approach, so that's certainly going to get eyeballs on it. But that's not enough. It's not enough to have sexy chicks on a yacht. You've also got to back it up with solid material. Tell me, how is your approach to hypnosis? Obviously, it sounds like, and I didn't know that you also did shows, but I always use the show as my marketing tool. I always use the show as the entry point, because most people, if you line up 10 people in a row, 8 of them have never seen a hypnotist live. If you like, 2 out of 10 have seen a hypnotist live. One of them thought it was complete BS. The other one has their mind open. But for the most part, nobody's ever seen hypnosis. So for me, it's the same thing. Even though I'm not a prude, and when I was working in nightclubs or on main stage of casinos, it's sexy and it's fun because power's sexy. But what makes your approach to the business side of what you do unique?
I think that most people go to coaching. For example, they might go to a coach because they want to learn knowledge. But knowledge is useless if you're not programmed for it. Everyone knows how to lose weight. They all know, hey, I should not eat cheesecake, and then they go eat the cheesecake. They all know they should get up at 6 a.m., go grind and go do the work, but there's a confidence barrier. There's something stopping them. The thing that I think I do so well is that I'm able to combine very, very advanced concepts. I think business is simple, and if you can simplify anything, you understand it. So I like to simplify everything. And I like to show those that I work with not only how to influence others. So they walk into a room, let's say with investors, and investors are throwing money at them, and they've never had that before. They've gone to coaches, sales coaches, and they just don't understand presuppositions. They don't understand anchoring. They don't understand embedded commands. They just don't understand how to entrance someone to the point where they listen to them and they are obsessed with everything they have to say. They just want to give them all their money. So when I coach these guys, I not only give them power, I really give them tools and power that they've never ever seen and cannot learn practically anywhere. Even if you go to an NLP seminar, odds are you're not going to be good at it, because these guys understand it in theory, but they don't know how to practice it. They're all broke. These guys do seminars and they make $100,000 a year. They're not actually making any money. So I think the one thing that I do differently is, one, I think really big. And two, I not only teach them how to leverage really what is a natural superpower. I think hypnosis is a natural superpower, whether someone believes in it or not. I don't really give a shit. I'm going to use it, and those that work with me are going to learn how to use it. But also I teach them how to use it for themselves. So whenever they feel incongruent, I think a feeling a lot of people are familiar with is you want to do something and then there's resistance. What if there was zero resistance ever to what you want to do? And I know you do this with your clients as well, which is why you're exceptional and you are where you are. It's when someone comes to work with me, they say, hey, Marcel, I want to make $1 million a month, $3 million a month, $10 million a month. I want to have all of the success in the world. I want to be extremely attractive, charming, confident, whatever it is. And then you snap your fingers and there's zero resistance to all the habits of that individual. They unconsciously think like this individual. They feel like this individual. If anything, the old version of them is foreign to them. And they unconsciously somehow start having money fall in their lap because they're not even aware of their new behaviors or their new actions. And they're like, wow, I'm getting so lucky. It's not that you're getting lucky. Is that you're unaware of your actions 95% of the time. And suddenly there's a change unconsciously. And this change puts you in the right room at the right time, saying the right things, and you make shit happen. Whereas before, someone might have pedestalized money, and money is a big deal and it's really hard to make. Suddenly money's easy and they could just make unlimited amounts. I think a lot of people don't understand that they were hypnotized anyway. So you're either hypnotized to be broke, you're hypnotized to be fat, you're hypnotized to not be where you want to be. Why not use the thing that programmed you in the first place to reprogram your mind, to give you an update? We update our phones every day. My car gets updates. Why does a human being not get an update? It makes no sense. So I think what differentiates me quite simply is I understand how effective it is. I'm 25. I'm probably one of the most successful 25-year-olds in the world. I have 7 supercars. I have Ferrari. I have an Aston Martin. I have Mercedes. I have 2 Porsches. I just bought an Audi R8. I live in a 10,000 square foot mansion. I bought my parents a house. I have a marijuana farm in Oregon. I have equity in several companies. I charge $1 million a year to work with me one-on-one. I have seminars with hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 people. I have so many different things that I have going for me. And, my payroll alone is about $250,000. I'm sending $250,000 payroll today. It's the first of the month. So all of these things combined, I think, add up into a certain mindset. I hate drugs. I hate alcohol. I think anyone who's doing any of these things is getting in their own way, and they're just trying to look for a trance which you can achieve naturally, and you can have a better version of it without any consequences. If anything, your brain only gets healthier when you go into this, rather than aging your brain. And the biggest thing I would share with anyone watching this is, if you're sitting there and you don't believe you can achieve something, or you don't know if it's possible, that tells me that you were hypnotized to think it's not possible. Human beings are not that smart. You look at the most successful people in the world, they're not that much better than you. You actually think they are. There's not that much information or data that they have that you don't have. But what they do have is a program in their brain that allows them to get there. And if your programming doesn't let you get there, you're not going to get there. As you understand, you've made how many millionaires? Thousands of millionaires. I know that's one of your seminars, literally programming people to be millionaires. So I actually have an event. You might find this interesting. It's called Mental Millionaire. What I do is, over the course of 2 days, I hypnotize people and I create a second identity. Like, I actually create a second person. So, you create a trigger and then there's a second person, and that person has different values, different morals, different thoughts. And I program that individual to be a millionaire. And then I merge that personality. I make it more dominant than the other one. And it takes over and removes all limiting beliefs unconsciously from this individual. And then they unconsciously just go get what they want. And the last time I did this event was about a month ago. 2 people made $1 million in one day. 2 people. There's 30 people in the room. It's a $12,500 event. And 2 people made $1 million a day. Every time I do this event, it sells out. And the only reason I bring it up to you is because I feel like a lot of people that are listening to this think it might take years to get a drastic change. This is a weekend, 3 hours a day. It's not even a long seminar. It's my shortest event I've ever done. It's 3 hours a day. You come, you change your life dramatically, and you cannot go back. There's nothing you could do to go back to the old version of you. I think people don't understand. Is it a permanent change? Can I be hypnotized? Just you asking that means you imagined it. You are in trance when you ask me that. I ask people, how many windows are in your room? How do you know you're not in your room? But yet they go into a trance. So everyone thinks that hypnosis is something crazy, and it is crazy, but they just don't know how it works. So there's a disconnect between the understanding of how to utilize it to make the change. I know you're very good at explaining it. Actually, listening to you speak is hypnotic on its own. You're so charismatic. Every time I hear you speak, I'm like, fuck, he's good. You know, I'm like, you know, so, but I think that's the differentiating factor. Is a lot of hypnotists also have a lot of limiting beliefs. They're like, oh, you can't hypnotize everyone. Not everyone's a good subject. It's like, no, you're just not good enough. You're literally just not good enough to hypnotize these people. It infuriates me.
I would agree with all the above. You know, I have some hypnotist friends that have told me, and very successful people, that they've never been hypnotized. And I look at them and I don't even know what to say to that. It's like, are you kidding me? How good could you be? You know, it's very much, if you're not a product of your own product, then what's the point? Tell me about the two people that made $1 million in a day. Tell me what they did.
So one of them has a credit card company, and you know he does 100 million a year already, and he signed a client. Actually, it's 2 million a day, but 1 million up front, because the guy, like, he spends about, the guy he gets 1% of whatever they spend. The guy spends hundreds of millions a year, so that's $1 million contract, maybe even a $2 million contract in a day. The second one is far more impressive. This guy was selling construction, and the most he'd ever done in a month in commission was 20K. The next day after the seminar, he made 20K in commission in one day. And he's like, well, it changed my life. The day after that, he sold over $1 million in a day, which has never happened. Like, he literally broke an industry record. That's not a thing. Like, if you talk to anyone who sells construction, to sell $1 million in a day is absurd. And since then, he's been consistent and crushing it, and if anything, improving. So, you know, I think it's not that you can't. Like, I remember the first time I sold $1 million. I remember how it happened. I had just finished traveling. I come back home and had a seminar at my house, actually at this house. So I'm in my movie theater here, doing a seminar with like 15 people. And I was just laughing. I was in such a good mood. I actually hypnotized myself that morning. I listened to an audio of mine and I just said, hey, you know what? You're going to make a shit ton of money today. You're going to feel good. And I'm in the movie theater. I'm laughing. I'm just cracking jokes. Almost like I was a comedian up on the stage. I wasn't even a public speaker, and everyone was having a great time. And at the end of it, this guy comes up to me. He's like, how much to work with you one-on-one? Now, I just came back. You know, my mindset is I just came back from vacation. I'm not trying to do a bunch of work. I'm trying to chill. So I just told him, like, it's $1 million. He goes, okay. Do you take crypto? And I was like, all right, I guess I charge $1 million a year. You know, at the time I was charging $55K a month. I didn't think about charging a year up front, but I said it thinking he's not going to want to work with me, but he ended up paying me. And I'm like, well, I guess I got to do it. So since then, that was 2022, January, I've been charging $1 million a year, and I take equity in companies, but I prefer not to work with people one-on-one now, especially because it's not as worth it. Financially, time-wise, it's really not as worth it. In the past, $84K a month was worth it. I think $84K a month was like, wow, you know, I'm making it. But it's not, maybe I have to charge more, but at the same time, I just don't think it makes as much sense for me monetarily to work with anyone one-on-one. And I really do get insane results. I mean, anyone who works with me one-on-one, the difference between me and maybe working with you is that they're not just getting knowledge. They're getting an actual habit. They're getting a program to where they cannot stop themselves from getting the result. And I think that's what makes hypnosis so unique, is that people don't realize you could try to not get your result. You're going to get it. It's the same way you try to lose weight and you can't. You try to make more money and you can't. Well, now try not to make the money. I can try not to make the money. Somehow I'll still make a shit ton of money. It's not, I don't have to think about it. It just happens. The same way you've created a fortune. You could try not to have a fortune and yet you do, you know, and I think that's the result of having the right mindset. People underestimate that their mind does everything for them, and that this is the easiest way to change it. Is the easiest way. I mean, you can go to retreats, you can go to meditations, you can go do yoga, you can go to take a psychedelic, or you can just get hypnotized. I mean, it's so easy. This is the path. There's no other path.
I would agree. Tell me about your business model. Tell me about, you know, obviously when in the course of my life, I've met a lot of hypnotists and, you know, become good friends with many of them. And I don't compete. I just don't do that. And, you know, somebody will say, well, he's your competition or she's your competition. My response is no, they're my alliance. So, you know, my whole thing is how do we help each other make money? There's more than enough for everybody. And anybody that doesn't come from that point of view is going to limit themselves. So I come from a point of view of being an attribute to somebody else, not a detribute. Tell me about your business model. Obviously, you're running ads. Are you
Yeah.
running ads? Are you running ads to appointments? Do you have a sales team? If you have a sales
Yeah.
team, how many people? If you do have a team, what are they selling? So what's your business model?
Yeah. So right now the business model is you run ads, right, to the funnel. The funnel has a mini webinar, so it's like a 10-minute video that gets them to fill out an application and book a call. Now I also have a massive organic following. So I have YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and then people are also coming in through there. Either way, leads come in, they fill out an application, depending on the quality of the lead, how much money they make. They speak to, I have two sales teams. I have sales team 5 and sales team 6, like SEAL team 6. SEAL team 6 or sales team 6 sells a high ticket offer. So an 80K a year offer or 15K a year offer. So that's their two offers that they kind of pitch. And then they'll downsell to like a, course of mine or something. If they can't afford to do a payment plan. And then sales team 5 is like, whenever I have a new group of salespeople come in, they go there and they just push my seminars. So someone who's lower quality, they don't have as much money. They just sell seminar tickets. They try to get 3, 4, 5 tickets at a time, bring your friends, whatever, and they push it. So seminars go from anywhere, like a basic seminar is $500 to $2,500. My next one's actually in Miami. Actually, it'd be cool if you come speak. I don't know if you're free, July 25th, 28th, come speak. So it's $500 a ticket to $2,500 if the VIP. It's 4 days. It's around 10 to 12 hours a day. So it's a long event. It's called Mindset Mastery. So that event is 4 days. So the business model is simply get people in. They either come to events, they come to my masterminds, and those are what I sell. And then at seminars, obviously, they're massive revenue generating machines if you're good at selling from stage. And I think I'm fucking amazing at selling from stage. So, you sell from stage. There should be at least, let's say, for every 100 people in the room, I make 200 to 300K. So that's the minimum I would say is in the room. Maybe that's not 10 out of 10 because there definitely could be better. Sometimes I make the same revenue from a small audience, like a 20, 30 person audience. I make even more money. Like I had this 30 person event. I did $500,000 with 30 people, so it really depends. But the main thing in the business model is calls to cash. So I have calls come to sales team upsells people. And then, what we work on is now people are in, how do we increase the LTV of my clients, keep them in, continue upselling them, cross-selling them, downselling them, coming up with new offers. I have a retreat in the Bahamas, for example, happening August 28th to August 31st. So it's 4 days. And that's 4 days. I'm going to be teaching them a bunch of cool stuff, hypnosis stuff, hypnotizing them, working with them one-on-one each for about 30 minutes. And that is $25K a person. And, I have people who've already spent $80K. They've bought the $15K offer. They've gone every seminar. So it's like, okay, well, what do you do now? You come up with new offers. So it just really depends on where someone is. There's like low ticket items. So there's even things for free. I have something called the Simple course. I filmed it in this very room. Production is super high. And that's an amazing course. It's an hour long, even hypnotizes people. And that is for free. That's like if someone goes to my website, marczellklein.com, they can just literally go to that and get a free course for an hour. That's literally awesome. So people who can't afford it, they come the free stuff. People who are kind of looking for an entry-level place for personal development, they come to a seminar. They can't fly out because it's expensive. They can watch it on Zoom. They can watch it live. And then those who are really at a higher level and want to go to that next level, well, I got a mastermind called Breakthrough Accelerator, which is $15K for the year. And that's an awesome program. And then if you're at a really high level and you want to network with others who are, really billionaires or worth similar to what you're worth, that's $80K a year, which is for those people, peanuts. Is really not expensive at all. It's like 6.6K a month. It's nothing. And I mean, they pay it up front, but I'm just giving the breakdown of what it looks like for those watching. And they meet with me once a week, super intimate. And I coach them in their business. I coach them in their mindset. I teach them super advanced persuasion influence techniques. It's kind of like a one-on-one, but in a group. So that's the way I model that. And so that's the main thing of the business model. And then you got the miscellaneous things. I went to go buy an Audi. So I bought an Audi R8. And the only reason I bought that car is because I know my dad liked it. And I figured, hey, you know what? I'll get one. Just give it to him. I have so many cars. I don't give a shit. So I get the car and I'm there. And then suddenly I see these two people talking about me. This lady, she has shorter hair. She's tall. She's dressed super nice. I figure she might work there. And another guy dressed like a nurse. And he points like, is that Marcel? So I walk over there. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? It's like, oh, I've been following you for a long time. And then she starts talking about me and she starts naming all my accolades. Turns out she's the GM of the dealership and she's been following me for a while. So she wanted to hire me to come train the dealership. And I pretty much got this R8 for free, right? It's like, well, I got paid to get my car. It doesn't even make sense. So when I looked at all of that, it's like people might say, well, how do you get these opportunities? I've also been, I post 3 times a day just on my account. I make YouTube videos every day. I film something every day. I'm grinding all day, every day for the last 7 years. People might say, do you feel like you're working a lot? No, because I also have fun. I go to sleep 8 hours. I work 8 hours, and that work is super productive. I feel like I go to the gym, I work, and then for 8 hours, I have fun. And if I want to work more in those extra 8 hours of that fun time, I usually do. I'll have my team stay longer. And I think leadership, hypnosis really makes you a better leader as well. It allows you to kind of get everyone on the same mission, get everyone on board. So it is exciting. This is the model I've produced. If you have any feedback, or if you have anything that you think you would improve, I'm open and all ears. I'd love to hear it.
Tell me about your annual gross. What are you doing for annual sales?
Around 9 to 10 right now.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of margin are you working on?
80. Super high margin. 80%. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's actually
so you're netting about 7.2 million a year.
Yeah, before taxes.
Good. And how often are you doing live seminars?
I have one in May, I have one in July, I have 2 in August. So, I would say I do like 10 a year.
That's cool. And you said an average of about 30 to 50 people an event?
No, those are the higher ticket ones. So the high ticket ones are smaller because they sell out, but I do 4 big ones a year, which have a minimum of 300 people.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So hopefully the one in July has, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I'd love to be a part of that. And I'd love to assist you in that. Yeah. So, one of the things that, again, I have hypnotist friends that walk into the Palace in Vegas and the first word out of their mouth begins with an F. And I get that they don't get it. I get they don't understand me and they don't understand the business because, like you said, there's so many people inside the coaching space, inside the seminar space, certainly inside the hypnosis space that are focused on doing one-on-one consultations. And yeah, it sounds great to be able to say, people pay me $1 million a year. My response to that is, yeah, but they own you for a year. And so, again, I would agree that we're better off finding a way to make $1 million in a weekend, or $1 million, $20,000 a person with 50 people. And in that way, they don't own us for the year. What do you suppose is the thing that has worked the best for you inside your business? And this is aside from hypnosis, just business in general. What do you suppose is the best standard operating procedure that you utilize to do so well? Because obviously, at 9 million a year and making around 7 million net a year before taxes, that's substantial. That puts you in the less than 1% of the population. What do you suppose is, in fact, give me a couple business adages, things that you use as business rules that you really think help you excel?
Tony Robbins says this, and I think it's super true. What can't be measured can't be managed. Everything in my company is measured. So every single thing in my company has a KPI. So for example, I have marketing. So there's marketing, but that's a very chunked up idea. So you might specify and you go, okay, what is involved in marketing? Well, ad spend, right? So what's my ROAS, return on ad spend? So on Facebook ads, YouTube ads. Then I might look at Instagram, YouTube, like organically and say, okay, hey, how many leads are these bringing in? And how are they converting? I might look at emails, see how my emails are converting, how my texts are converting. So everything has a KPI. Then the next step in my process, I have setters. So these setters speak to these leads, they kind of vet them out, they decide where they go, they make sure they're warmed up, ready for a call. And okay, these setters have certain KPIs. Can I measure them? Can I make sure that every single thing is reported? Everything that's not reported in my company is a penalty to everyone in the company by $100. Everyone in the company it's one team. So if one person fucks up, everybody pays $100. So that way, no one fucks up. Everyone holds everyone accountable. And I don't think anyone else does that. I do that though, because I just think that, hey, these are the standards. So you got to measure everything. And I put everything in categories. So every single department has its own category. And then every single person in that department has their own KPIs. And then I have a COO who's kind of like the glue of everything. They go, they manage everything. They make sure everyone's on their KPIs. I talk to them. I say, these are the goals. I taught them how to think about it, how to communicate to me, how to communicate to them to be a better leader. So training. Also, I think a lot of people don't want to be the CEO of their company. You should be the CEO of your company. Like they want to get out of their company and be like, I don't want to be CEO. I think you should get your hands dirty. Like there's no reason to get lazy. I think everyone should be involved in, if it's your company, you should be involved in every area of your company. You should put your hands in everything because no one's going to know or care about the company as much as you. And if you lead from the front, everyone's going to follow. So I think the second thing is really leading from the front, being at, showing everyone that you work the hardest, that you're the most on top of it. I'm passionate about helping people. So for me, especially as business is a game, I think of it as fun. Like everything business-wise is fun. Yeah, once you get 1, 2, 3 cool cars, that's awesome. Eventually that gets old. What's fun is just growing the business. When I pay my staff more money, like I think one of my closers is getting paid like $40,000 in commissions today. That to me is exciting. That's the first time he's ever done that. He's ever made that kind of money. So to me, that stuff's exciting. And I would say another thing in business, which a lot of people don't do, and this sounds really generic, but it's true. I think you should think bigger. A lot of people plan for a small outcome. Hey, I want to make $1 million a year. But that's a really small outcome. It's not that hard to achieve that goal. And if you're planning for $1 million a year, you might be selling, one-on-one sessions for $300 and do 10 a day. But it's a lot easier to just go high ticket. It's a lot easier to sell more expensive. Obviously, that's my philosophy. People have different philosophies. Like if you sell, I don't know, a phone case for $50, you might become a $100 million company. I have no idea. But I do know that in this space, if you go high ticket, because time is so scarce, you make more money. Either high ticket or massive volume all at once. So you're not unlimited scale at a seminar, unlimited scale online. I think from the business perspective, it really is a game of balance. Like, how do I balance my marketing to make sure there's enough leads for my sales team? How do I make sure my sales team is good enough to where they're not burning any of the leads? How do I make sure that all of the fulfillment's happening? And, we sell, let's say we have a big day today, we sell 20 people onto like a mastermind. How do I make sure everyone gets onboarded and is treated properly and not missed? How do we have a checklist? So everything's about organization. I think a lot of people in our space are very good at the creativity. They're very resourceful. They're sharp in sales. They're sharp communicators, and that gets them by, but they miss the organization side. So therefore, they can't measure a lot of the things, and there's a lot of leaky holes in the bucket. So I think it's not just about what you make. It's about what you keep. Learning how to keep the money you make is really, really important. Learning how to make more off of what you have. Like if I never had another lead come in, I'd probably still continue to do the same revenue I'm doing for at least 3 or 4 years. There's no way I wouldn't. I just have so many leads. I know exactly how to keep creating new offers, restructuring things, upselling things. And then the last thing I would say is fulfillment. A lot of people are so focused on the money, they don't care about the offer or the product. I care more about the client than I care about the money. And I think that's why I make the money that I make. And I'm honestly not even making that much. I know that at scale, I could probably scale this up in the next 2 years to 30, 40 million a year, maybe even sooner. And then I think I can, look at that. And then I think I could scale this up in the next 5, 10 years to even 100 million plus a year. And that's the goal. The goal is to have stadiums of 30, 40,000 people, be bigger than Tony Robbins, and just really show people, like make it mainstream, make personal development mainstream. Like as if you go to Coachella, you want to come change your life, and I think it's possible. I think with social media nowadays and technology, it's super possible. There are people who are far less captivating, far less skilled, far less entertaining that are doing it. So there's no reason I shouldn't be able to. The main thing I've been doing now is trying to really optimized. So I've been at the same revenue for about a year. So I've been maintaining it, but I'm way more profitable. My margins were at 40% before. Now they're at 80. Everything's, and now I've built a massive foundation because I knew that one way or another, I'm either going to have to pay for it in the long term and kind of come back because I scaled too fast. So I chilled out. I said, okay, let's maintain this revenue. Let's optimize every single thing. There's not a single thing. If someone sends a certain message, there's an SOP for it. There's an SOP for every single thing someone does. From a payment plan all the way to a certain type of text. Someone asks a question. If a lead comes through here, what do you do? Everyone has an SOP. There's a script for everything. So right now I feel like we've laid the groundwork and I'm actually getting ready to scale. I'm about to hire someone who's going to only hire people all day long. That's their job. So, I'm pretty excited about it, but that's the idea, I guess you could say, in terms of business. You have to think about the long-term vision and you got to be patient enough to fulfill it, but also impatient enough to start getting money. Also the last thing I would say, which is important, is a lot of people waste time doing things that don't move the needle. So they spend time working on their logo or their business card because they don't have the confidence to actually do something that makes them the money. Focus, especially if you're starting off, you should focus on the things that move the needle the most. If you're already there, then focus on things that move the needle even 1 or 2%. If you're a $1 billion company and you move the needle 1%, that's a massive shift. So I think a lot of the time we're focused on nonsense. We beat around the bush. Go for the kill. Think about what the most effective action you could take is. And if that thing is going to produce a result, and the result is obviously monetary or long-term monetary gain. Those are the 2 biggest results you can achieve. So I think making decisions based off of that outcome, does this make that shift? Then those are the best business decisions, rather than just making meaningless decisions, feeling like you did a bunch of work, but the company goes nowhere. And that's what a lot of people do.
I think that I wholeheartedly agree. I think the biggest challenge for people is what you just said, that they're thinking about, they're getting ready to get ready. They're thinking about, how does my logo look? And, am I posting 3 times a day on social media? And am I, have I created a blog or a podcast or whatever? And I tell all the coaching clients that we work with, first thing you need to focus on is IGAs, income generating activities. So if you're the leader of your company and your main thought every single day is not how do I get the freaking money? How do I sell something today? then your company's going to be out of business. And I don't care how good you are. There's tons of people that have really great talent that just never make any money. I did an event recently. I had a peer of mine who does well come to the event, and he wanted to come as my guest. He showed up. We do a 2.5 day event, and we do a 2.5 day event for a reason. It's where we're able to get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 per head in sales at the events. So if we've got 100 people and we're doing 10,000 a head, that's $1 million. And he came into the event as my guest, showed up halfway through the afternoon, missed the whole first morning. No call, no, hey, by the way, I'm running late. Sorry, I apologize. Didn't mean to be rude. Shows up halfway through the afternoon and then when he shows up, immediately sends a text to me and says, hey, I arrived. Are you available? And I don't see it because, frankly, I'm on stage. And because I'm on stage, I text him when I get off stage. I said, no, I'm not available, dude. You're looking right at me. I'm on the stage. But that's all I say. I don't say anything about him being late. Doesn't show up the second day. And so I finished the event and I called him up and I said, dude, you were my guest. I invited you. You showed up late. You texted me while I'm on the platform. So I'm not sure whether you're just not conscious of your actions or what's going on. He said, I realized you and I aren't the same. I said, yeah, how's that? And he said, well, your event was all about selling things. I said, yeah, we teach people how to make money, and selling things is the basis of making money. And he said, well, I'm more of a healer and I'm more of taking care of people. I said, I respect that. I don't know that you're more of a healer, but you're certainly more broke. And furthermore, that was the last invitation to my event you will ever receive because you flat out were rude about the gift. And he didn't get it. And I know he didn't get it because that's how he lives his life. He shows up late to everything. He finds reasons to find things wrong. And, that's just the thing. And again, I love people enough that I pray that my buddy took it the way that I wanted him to receive it. And that was as a wake-up call. Hey, dude, if somebody gives you a gift and you're going to be late, tell them in advance. If you're going to show up and not come back, tell them, make up a lie for God's sake. My mother died, or, my wife's having a baby. I got to leave. But don't just leave without any word. That doesn't make any sense. I think most people, because their hypnosis is so deep, don't understand they're this close. They're this close to getting what they want. And it's really, again, a matter of their shift more than anything else. If I were to wave a magic wand over your highly successful, and did you say that you've got a $250,000 a month payroll bill?
That's my payroll, yeah.
That's crazy. That's $3 million a year just in payroll. Most people would freak out at the idea of paying out $3 million.
I actually think that's pretty lean. Like that's with commissions, but that's pretty lean. I mean, I think that's really not that bad.
No, it's not. But that's my point, is that you don't think it's that bad. You go, no, I'm not spending $250,000 a year. I'm getting $10 million a year of output. So that's not a cost. That's an investment. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't get, especially solopreneurs and people that are used to running their business by themselves. They don't get that if I pay $50,000 for a person per year or $100,000 for a person per year, that's not a cost unless that person isn't doing anything. If I'm paying 50, 60, 70,000 a year and I cannot put a finger on exactly what money that person is bringing in for me, then yeah, I've got to sit back as the leader and say, what KPI do I need them to exist in? What do I need them to step up to actually produce that result for me? And I think that's the biggest challenge for people. But for you, and I appreciate the fact, because I see you walking down a fine line of being a superstar, which you are, and also, though, being humble in my presence, which you should be, only because of my massive amount of years and experience inside of this. And I'm the same way. That, if I meet somebody that's better than me at anything, hypnosis, sales, speaking, broadcast, I don't care. I'm quick to go, man, you're better than me at this particular area. What do I need to pay you to be your best student? Because that's what I do. And I think that, that's the humility that most people don't have and don't recognize is a part of it. And I see it in particular with hypnotists. I see it a lot with hypnotists because it's such a vanity-based profession. If you're an insecure hypnotist, you're going to be ineffective. So if you are a hypnotist, when I train people, if they don't say, I'm the greatest hypnotist in the world, Marczell Sylver thought he was great, but I'm better than him. If they don't say that after I trained them, I didn't do my job. And that's my feeling. If I were to wave a magic wand over 25-year-old Marczell and give you the biggest gift of your life, what gift would I give you? What would I teach you? What would I transform? How would I help you?
I would love to see you now with the lens I have on stage, selling from stage. Like
Let's do your event in Miami in July.
Let's do it. Yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see what you do differently, because I'll talk. I mean, we'll have a conversation obviously off this, but I would love to see what you do on stage, because I remember how good you did then, and I'm very fucking good. Like if I go on stage with anybody, I'm telling you now, I will. Everyone combined won't make what I make, and I could be last. I could be when there's no money left in the room. I'll still make more than the whole room. I really don't care, but I know that there's levels to this, and you've been doing this for decades. I've only been doing this for almost a decade. You know, not even that. Now I'm a quick learner, and I've gotten very good very fast, because a lot of people stop growing relatively soon. However, I am a massive, the same way I'm a massive teacher, I'm also a massive student. And I think I'm not going to get to where I want to be unless I really look at, I like to take something from everyone. And initially, I would study Tony Robbins, I studied Darren Brown, thinking that what Darren Brown was doing was hypnosis. I didn't realize mostly it was fucking mentalism or sleight of hand, So I'd go do these things. I'm like, oh, I figured this out. I can walk up to anyone covertly. I have a video on YouTube, and this is when I wasn't anywhere near as good. It's like 5 years ago. I walk up to a random guy at the mall. I just shake his hand, hypnotize him, and then like in 2 seconds, just pattern interrupt, take everything out of his pockets, make him forget it happened, walk into a store, and then done. And then I go up to him and I go up to him like, hey, here's your phone. He's like, oh, wow, thanks. And then I show him a video, and you could just see he's just shocked, because there's no conscious, there's no conscious memory of what just happened. And I was obsessed with figuring out how to do things covertly. Now it's less about that, because that was more like 20-year-old me wanting to be powerful and kind of secretive and learn how to do these things. It was like fancy. Now it's really just about kind of doing what I'm good at. Because the second I'll see you do it, I'll be like, okay, that's awesome. There's things you've come up with that I have never come up with. And it's not that I can't come up with them, it's just I maybe have not seen them. So I'd be very excited to see what you do. And I think that would be, if there's a magic wand, that would be the magic wand for me.
Well, I would love to show you. And you're absolutely right. I have the advantage of being a person that was on stage first. Then I became a hypnotist. And because all the stagecraft stuff was already there, I got those pieces. The other distinction is, I don't know whether it's just being hungry, or whether it was out of necessity, or whether it was just, I view hypnosis as influence. I view hypnosis as sales. That's all it is. But it's selling on the deepest subconscious level. So whether I'm selling somebody to buy, a $100,000 event from me, or whether I'm selling somebody to not be afraid of snakes or learn how to treat their wife with respect, it's all sales. That's all that it is. And so for me, there's no distinction in the process. So there's no distinction in what I do. And yeah, that's to me, it's the same thing that, when I make sales, I realize not only am I making a boatload of money, but for me, it's the litmus test that people vote with their wallets. And if people voted for me and what we're teaching them with their wallet, then they voted for me. And if they don't vote for me with their wallet, then they didn't really vote for me, and I don't count it. But, that's what you just said was exactly what I teach people to do. And that is be moldable talent. You're smart enough to say, dude, show me, I do really, really, really well. Show me how to do your level well in closing from the platform. I want to learn how to do that. Because again, I'm the same way. I saw, who Ryan Stewman is?
No, but he's good.
Yeah, Ryan Stewman is not a hypnotist. He's a sales trainer, and he's out of Texas. And I saw Stewman, he goes by the Hardcore Closer. I saw Stewman do an event with Russell Brunson. Both Stewman and I were speaking at Russell's Funnel Hacker Live event. And I saw Stewman get on the platform and do this thing I'd never seen anybody do. He put a microphone in the middle of the room, and he invited people to stand up and give him objections. And he would live on the spot overcome their objections in real time. And I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was so sharp. He was so good that again, after the fact, I said, I want to learn that. And I said, I'd like you to come watch me close at one of my live events. He came to one of my live events, and we went to dinner. He took me to dinner that night, and he said, I'm one of the best closers in the world, and I've never seen anybody craft their offer the way you crafted that offer and had people run into the back for, at the time, a $60,000 per person offer. He said, I've never seen that. He said, I just watched you do a $1.5 million in sales in 90 minutes. I said, I did. He said, whatever that is, teach me that. And so, yeah, I don't think that most people realize that process of closing from the platform is different than closing from a social media stance. It's different than closing from ads or email or even closing one-on-one with setters and closers and that whole process. And it's not something most people understand what's going on. They'll see me close and they'll go, yeah, I was there that time you had everybody running to the back. And my response is, well, which time would that be? What are you talking about? That's every time. And again, final story before we wrap up, and I surely appreciate you being on the show, and I really look forward to you and I growing a great friendship. Years ago, when I was in my early 20s, my business model was pretty simple because all I could do was model the people that I saw. And one of the models that I saw was people getting up in front of realtors specifically and teaching realtors how to sell better. And then they would sell their books and tapes. And it wasn't unusual for somebody to stand up and do 25, 30 bucks a head in sales of their books and tapes. And there was a guy out of San Diego. His name was Joe Stumpf. And he was one of the best in the industry at doing this, just happened to also be from San Diego. And I took him to lunch because that's what I do when I want to get to know somebody. I say, hey, can I take you to lunch? You pick the most expensive place you want to go. I'll take you there. So he said, yes, we go to lunch. And he's wearing these cufflinks, and the cufflinks say $55 on each cufflink. And I said, what's up with the cufflinks? And he said, that's my sales per head average. Well, at the time, selling books and tapes, industry average was 25, 30 bucks. And so my brain said, oh, $55, that's great. I went out, crafted my offer, figured out how to do $100 a head. But then I realized people will pay more for a live experience than they will for books and tapes. So I then also crafted, instead of just selling books and tapes, I crafted a live offer that I could sell for substantially more. And our sales at that time jumped up to $1,500, $2,000 per head because we were offering a live component. And so the next time we went out to eat, I'd already done some cufflinks that had $1,000, on them on each cufflink. So we go to lunch, and I'm, flashing the cufflinks, making sure he sees it, putting my hand on my, gesturing like this. And he said, oh, your cufflinks are hilarious. I said, what do you mean? He said, like you're doing $1,000 a head. And I said, you're right. That's not true. I need to get new cufflinks made. He said, yeah, that's funny though. I said, no, I need to get new cufflinks made that are 2,000 because that's what we're averaging per head now. And he said, no, you're not. I said, yes, we are. And I explained to him what we were doing, and it changed his business model forever. He said, holy crap, a fish doesn't know it's in water. And often we don't know how good things can be because we've never seen it. So when I tell people, yeah, we do $15,000 to $20,000 per head. And if we don't, someone's getting fired. And, people say, well, how in the world do you do that? And I said, first and foremost, we sell big packages. That's one way you do it. We sell bigger packages. I said, the other thing, though, when we go into an environment where I'm closing on our what we call inner circle program, we close 100% of the people that are financially qualified, 100% of those people. And people have asked me, how do you do that? And I said, yeah, that's the formula you want to learn. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, and I would love to teach you. As we get ready to wrap up this portion of the show, anything else that you want to add, anything else you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, I would say that anyone who's watching this, whether you're watching it live, you're watching the recording, my suggestion to you, whether you're starting off, in your business venture, or you're already doing really well, there's a lot of ignorance involved in success. And when you do better than those around you, you might compare, you might say, hey, I'm making 100 million a year, for example. And you might think that you know more. My advice to you would be, you might know more about your business, but you may not know more about the human mind. You may not know more about how to influence people. And could you take that skill that you don't know that much about and leverage it in your company or in your business or in your personal life? The answer is a yes. So I think there's always room to learn. There's always room to grow. And if you are someone who's doing really well and you want to do better, I think listening to Marczell in general would probably substantially change your life. Just because you'll have a skill set that makes people, you walk into a room you say a few things, and everyone in the room wants to know you. Everyone in the room wants to network with you. You know, I'll give you a quick story, and then I know you have to move on. But my friend, he's one of the youngest billionaires in the world, invites me to a networking event. He said he's flying on his private jet. He lands at 7:30. He told me to show up in a suit to this event. It's a networking event with all these other super like successful venture capitalists and investors. He's like, just go. So I had a date coming. I told the date to meet me there. It's like a model, and we show up to this event. I show up at 7:30. The model showed up at 8:30. He showed up at 8:30 because he landed at 7:30. And in the 1 hour that I had alone at this event, by the time they showed up, I turned this networking event into a seminar, into my own seminar, and I ended up speaking to 100 people for an hour and a half. And she's like, I thought you were inviting me to a networking event. I'm like, I did. It turned into a seminar. He even told me, he's like, yeah, I knew this would happen, right? So it's just when you have this skill set, you can really mold any situation, any scenario, any dynamic into anything you want. And, you know, it's not just the skill set, it's the mindset, which gives you the confidence. If I didn't have the confidence to walk in a room with all these extremely successful people, I wouldn't have been able to mold it in that direction. And in doing so, this sounds even more ridiculous, but imagine having a back of room inside of a networking event. That's exactly what I did. Right? I sold from a stage that didn't exist. I created a stage and then I just made it happen. So I thought that was pretty unique. And that happened recently, happened in November. And just to tell you what happened after that, I go to dinner with this girl. I'm on a high. I feel great. I just made a lot of money. And the waitress was very pretty. She was having fun with us. And David Dobrik sends me a text. I don't know if you know David Dobrik. He's a pretty big YouTuber. So he sends me a text like, hey, you know, you want to come over and hypnotize me? So I'm like, yeah, I'll come over. So I go there and there's another, you know, celebrity there. Her name's Madison Beer. So they're all there and I'm hypnotizing them. And this is all in the same evening. So, you know, this model that I had just first time ever hanging out with her experience of what she saw was this guy turned a networking event into a seminar and they made a bunch of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then I go to dinner and it's fun. It's a great time. And then suddenly we're at a celebrity's house with other celebrities, giving them another seminar, hypnotizing them. So, and that's just one evening. I have countless examples of it, of things like this. Like I was in Dubai. I don't know if you know who Jason Derulo is. Do you know who he is?
I don't.
He's a super big pop star. You know, he has like 50,000 people, 100,000 people in his concerts. You've heard his music, guaranteed. But anyone watching this probably knows who he is. Regardless, I'm in Dubai. I'm in the urinal taking a piss. I hear someone next to me speaking English. I look and then somehow become good friends with him. He's inviting me to his concert, inviting me on a yacht. Now we're friends, you know, and it just happened in 30 seconds while taking a piss. So if you have this skill set, I think you can literally take any opportunity that's in front of you and squeeze the lemon dry. And most people don't know how to do that. They don't even know how to squeeze the lemon at all. So this skill set really does give you an edge that most people don't have.
So I guess the lesson is take more pisses.
Take more pisses and sign up for your and
squeeze the lemon and squeeze the lemon.
Well, you know, and the lemon is show up to the seminar. Like I'm telling you, you guys are watching this, whether you came from my Instagram or you're watching this in general, guys, Marshall is awesome, and you can hear it. And I really won't say that much about others. I don't think others are that good. I think you're very.
Well, you're
good.
awesome. Yeah. Hey, check out Marczell at Marczell, MarczellEll on Instagram. You can, when you get there, you're going to see a link for a couple programs. Make sure you check it out. Marczell, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in person. We're both in Southern Cal, so let's grab some lunch and hang out a little bit.
Let's do it. I'll see you later, Marshall.
Take care. We have the greatest guest. Hey, you know what? We're about to jump into the vault and start taking your questions. Go to studiomoney.info/live guests. In the meantime, I want to show you a couple videos of some live events we got going on real soon and give you a chance to come join us. So take a look.
Turning point. A total change in direction for the better.
Who here is ready for a turning point? You absolutely have to have one. Put them high.
The 2-day Turning Point seminar is different than any other program in that it does more than just teach you the skills for your relationships, wealth, and power. It also programs you on a subconscious level to put those skills into immediate use.
This weekend is about empowerment. This weekend is about you understanding how to take charge of your own life.
You will learn total control of your thoughts and emotions. How to use PND, or psychoneural duplication, to take on the thoughts and actions of others to produce similar results. Whether it's losing weight, changing habits, being a millionaire.
When you think what a millionaire thinks and you do what a millionaire does, you'll produce similar results.
You will learn to program these powerful tools at a subconscious level for immediate and lasting results.
Your conscious mind is what's called your critical factor. It's the mind you're using right now to determine whether the information I'm giving to you will work for you or not. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is merely a computer. It's non-critical. It doesn't even have the ability to make judgment. So all trance, hypnosis, reprogramming is setting aside the critical factor of your conscious mind and non-critically accepting suggestions.
And empowering.
To make a fear vanish, you must experience it fully.
As it helps you create your life exactly the way you want it. Bring your family closer. Find the love of your life. Create strategies for wealth. Learn irresistible influence and so much more. Because of the intimate nature of this course, seats are very limited. Register now before your life passes you by and there are no more turning points for you. Tens of thousands of people have learned this information and are using it daily.
You don't get angry if you get fired from your job and you know that within 2 years you will be a multi-millionaire.
It's your time.
There's a way for you to win this game that is different than how you're doing it, and it works.
It's your life.
When you learn how to do that, you become more powerful, and power is for use.
It's your turning point.
I'm here at the Next Level event in Las Vegas, and this has been the most transformational week of my life. I got to a point where before this event, I had nothing less to hold on to. I lost my apartment, the love of my life, went through the worst heartbreak I've ever experienced. I now feel stronger than I ever have. I have more confidence in my future than I could have imagined. So I gotta say, Marshall, thank you. Thank you for putting everything together. Thank you for believing in us, for pouring everything you have into your students. As a result of that, you've saved my life. For anyone who's out there that's going through something, whether it's emotional, whether it's a business challenge, if there's something in your life that you're looking to change, I guarantee you, come to one of these events, Turning Point, the Next Level, and you will find the solutions, and you'll be strong, and you'll be ready to take on whatever direction it is you're wanting to go.
Just participating in the Marczell Next Level. It's phenomenal. It's great. It really pushes yourself. I mean, when you come here, you're really pushing yourself, like, as it is to the next level. Kind of cocky when I'm like, oh yeah, big tough guy, gonna be destroying this course. But especially when you're up on the high things, you really feel the nerves and you're like, oh god. But you know, you really just gotta trust yourself, because that's what it's all about. You're just trusting yourself. Thanks again, Marczell, for the Next Level. See you soon.
I'm here at the Next Level event by Marshall Sylver. It is just amazing. Between the physical challenges, the team challenges, I really felt like I took my life and my business to the next level. Thanks, Marshall and AJ. It's amazing.
What can I say? Next Level is always amazing. As you saw in that short clip, the breakthroughs and the advancements and the understandings that people come to are not available anywhere else. You can only get them here at the Next Level. To all the people that have come through the Next Level, I am so glad to have been able to be a part of this part of your life. I trust that the advancements and the understandings will continue to bless you for a lifetime. And to the folks that are considering Next Level, I just want you to know that in your life there are so many times when you wanted to do something and it felt right for you to do it and you hesitated, you didn't follow through, you didn't go to the next level. I want you to consider those moments and all those regrets you might have had, and don't do it again. Don't do it anymore at all. Come with us. Let us take your life to the next level. I'll see you there.
We're in the vault, baby. You know what that means. Say the secret word, win $6,500 today. Be interesting, win 10 ounces of pure silver. That's all you got to do. Hey, I'm Marczell Sylver. Glad to be with you. Excited to be with you, actually. Every day, if you're brand new to the program, we put awesome guests, as we did today with Marczell Klein, on in the first hour, give you a chance to learn, chat. We're actually going to start opening it up to send questions to our guests too, because I noticed in the chat we get a lot of people asking questions. So we're going to open that up too. Lots of changes going on, lots of cool stuff happening. Big things that I'll be able to tell you about in the next few days for sure. In the meantime, we're about to start taking your calls. I've got time for at least a couple calls today. Yana, you are live on the air. Welcome home. Glad you're here. You're live. What's going on?
Now.
That's okay. You're beautiful. We don't need to hear you. You're just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
who needs to
What
listen?
the heck?
Awesome. Okay. I have a question.
I have an answer.
Awesome. What's your thoughts about life coaching? And I'll give you a little backstory, and I'll keep it very quick because I have another call coming up. So when I was flying back from your event, My First Million, I sat next to the Craig Siegel, and he's a big podcaster and stuff. So we started to chat, and I joined his group. He's like mastermind group, and a lot of the people who's in the group are coaches. They're life coaches, health coaches, you name it, they're a coach. And I'm like, that's very cool, because I felt like literally a year ago, I lost myself. I work 7 days a week, barely scraping by, came across your event, went to the turning point, and that was my turning point. And since then, I'm just keep growing and expanding. Yep. And I'm like, you know, I'm running the IT company, but I feel like I'm here for a little more than just running an IT company and be brand ambassador. So my idea is like, as a side hustle, or more than, it's not a hustle, like as a side hobby, I would love to start helping others to start breaking through their limiting beliefs and getting themselves out of, the thought patterns that not serving them anymore. And I'm like, well, maybe I would be a good life coach. Maybe I should give it a try. And so that's where I'm at right now. And I'm like, let me chat with you for a few minutes and just see what's your thoughts about all this life coaching. And if, I don't know, I think I'm just.
No, I think that it's ideal. What was the name of the person that you said has this group?
Greg Siegel, and I can connect you guys because he always does podcasts and he always, looking for guests and vice versa. He got his book out, The Renovation Formula. Here, I'll
Lovely.
put it on the chat.
So here's my input. Here's my input. Number one, congratulations. Yes, more opportunities are happening around you because you're more aware, and so you're seeing them. The question about life coaching, that's a phenomenal question. And the answer has to do with my guest today. And that is, so many people enter into the profession of coaching or teaching or, consulting. And the challenge is they really know their stuff, but they don't know their business. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is that they know how to teach people. They know how to coach people. In fact, they're really, really, really good. The challenge, though, they don't know how to GTFM. They don't know how to get the money and make it a business. And so one of the things that I always tell people right up front, and it's the adage, show business is 2 words and business is the bigger word. Yeah. The challenge with life coaching or relationship coaching or health coaching or anything that's not money coaching
Yep.
is all of those are what I call a soft topic. And if you're going to do soft topic coaching, and hypnosis is a soft topic, frankly. If you're going to do soft topic coaching, you've got to figure out a way to turn it into a hard topic. So, what is a hard topic? A hard topic is something that you can do the math on.
Yep.
So, if you come to me and you say, "Hey, Marshall, I want to know, how to invest in real estate," and I say, "Yana, give me $5,000, and I'll teach you how to make $10,000 on your first deal." You say, "Okay." You give me the 5 grand, you go do your first deal, turns into 10 grand. You go, "That worked." You come back to me, teach me how to do this better. I say, "Yana, give me $10,000 and I'll teach you how to turn it into 50. You give me 10 grand, you turn it into 50. You say, "This works." If you come to me and you say, "Hey, Marshall, I'd like some help with my marriage." And I say, "Great, it's 5 grand. You go, "Oh, that's a lot of money for a marriage."
That's true. Scottish dude.
Yeah, to hell with him. But the fact of and I know you're joking, so I want to be clear about this. The fact of the matter is, though, because you're in a great relationship, you can't put a price tag on it. If you and your man were struggling and you guys weren't talking to each other and you hadn't had sex in 2 months, then you might go, "Yeah, 5 grand, that's a deal. I'd pay 5 grand just to get some attention from my hubby. He doesn't hug me, doesn't tell me he loves me, doesn't, we're not doing badly. We don't fight, but we just don't interact." That's different. So your job as a coach, and every person who has a soft topic, health, relationships, happiness, what some people might call personal development, any of those topics, you've got to figure out how to turn it into a hard topic, because that's the only way somebody's going to pay hard money, is if that hard topic makes sense. There's a percentage of people, there's a couple people that teach hypnosis that come to mind, and I see their ads all the time, and they really they play the hypnosis card as their lead card. And the reason they do, hypnosis is magic, it's emotional, and the fact that it's emotional engages people. Without the logic, they'll limit their income, they'll limit how much their business can do. So since all buying decisions are based first on emotion and then backed up with logic, what you've got to do, sell emotionally, except reinforce logically, so that people will write the check, give the credit card, pay the cash.
Yep.
Since I obviously have a lot of knowledge of you personally, do I think that would be good? And you called it a side hobby. I don't want to call it a side hobby. You didn't call it a side hustle. I get that. That's also not semantically correct. So I would say an additional opportunity for you. That's all I would call it, an additional opportunity.
I like
Uh,
that.
that in due respect can run in complete alignment with what you're already doing. And that's the thing you want to consider. Does it dovetail? So you and your husband, you guys run a technology company. You guys create software for people. You create, platforms that people can run their businesses on. My thought would be that that's a natural, not life coaching. Business coaching is a natural direction for you to go, because you get it. You get business, you get people. And Chuck Gibbons was a personal development coach in the 1980s. I know, before you were born. He was a personal development coach in the 1980s who he wasn't succeeding, wasn't doing well, until he wrote a book called Wealth Without Risk. And when he wrote a financial book that was all about personal development as it related to finance, his career skyrocketed. And within 5-6 years, they were doing $100 million a year in first business development, then personal development. Because what he realized is that if I bring people in on a business development topic, show them how to grow their core business, then they'll realize it's got nothing to do with my business. It's got everything to do with the fact that I fight with my wife every day and I can't focus on my business, or I'm so fat I can't tie my own shoes, or I'm so miserable in my life in general, I don't even want to go focus on my business. He realized if he could get their business together and get them some results, that they would acknowledge and face the truth that, no, the reason my life sucks, I'm a fat, lazy slob. The reason my life sucks is I treat my wife like a piece of crap. And so, all of my energy is going into saving my relationship, even though my business is worth millions of dollars. My spouse just wants to steal it from me because I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
So you are ideal. Your personality, your skill set, your empathetic levels, Everything about you is ideal to be a business coach. It's
You
your
just had a
expertise.
light bulb come. Thank you.
I know. You're part of our inner circle program, and I want you to know that although it doesn't seem like it, or maybe it's not even a conscious thing, I have a very deep commitment to my inner circle people that goes beyond any check they wrote me or any cash they gave me. It goes to being that you trusted me. So one of the first centers of profit that I would focus on you is that relationship with Craig, is that I would help you learn how to leverage his existing businesses, show him how to find an unknown revenue stream, non-traditional revenue stream that not only he massively profits on, that you also profit on. And the way that we would do that is show every last one of his coaches, no matter what their business, here's how you take that business to the next level. And I would love to help you create a passive revenue stream that far exceeds anything you're doing in a non-passive stream, but also help you realize that that is your power. That's who you are. Tell me about the light bulb that went off.
Oh my goodness. Well, I thought I should go to this life coaching because I've been through so much, I think, emotional experience in the past several years. And last year, as I said, with joining you, it blew my whole world. But actually business coaching, I think I can talk for hours about that. In terms of marketing, in terms of programs, and even as you said right now, like when we're coming into the business, we can show them what they can systemize, what they can do. And I always feel like, I need to learn a little more before I can help someone. That's but lately I'm like, you know what? I'm already a few steps ahead. I can start getting people whom I can start helping. And I even thought I don't even start with $20 an hour just to kind of, because I never coached before. Coaching is what? Talking. So I did talk to people and I did give them advice, but it was always just friendly conversation. So never really on the scale of, you pay me for my time and I'll show you what needs to be done,
Yeah, and I want to go one step further and caution you not to charge $20. And I'll tell you why. People vote with their wallets and people pay attention with their wallets. So charging $20, no matter how good your advice is, they're not going to listen to you. But charging $500 for a one-on-one coaching session or $1,000 for a one-on-one coaching session, which you easily could command, you just don't know that you can, will not only make a difference and you'll say, wow, holy cow, this worked. I've got their attention, but it'll also make the people that you have brought on as clients, make them use the information. You invested tens of thousands of dollars to become a part of my inner circle program, which is why you pay attention to what I teach, which is why you've gotten onto this show a couple of times and just said, what do I do? This conversation is permission to you, Yana, for you to step into your ability and your power as a coach. It didn't set right with you to be a life coach. That's the reason you asked the question. The moment I said you're a business coach, your eyes lit up. And even though they froze
oh
on
my
the
goodness,
video,
the gears are turning.
your eyes lit up and you said, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree that that is what you should be pursuing with your expertise in tech. I've got some tech challenges going on right now. We have an Ever webinar that for some reason the link broke, and I know nothing about Webinar Jam. I know nothing about Ever webinar. And so somebody, I have another inner circle client that I helped become a speaker and a trainer. He owns a VA company out of the Philippines. He trains VAs. And I just saw the other day that he put up a post and said, I've got people trained in Go High Level. I've got people trained in AI, come hire my people. And the moment he posted that, I said, I'll hire a couple because that's what I need right now.
Yeah.
I think that we build on existing foundations, and your existing foundation is you understand tech. You're amazingly good with people. Your guy has a great way of explaining technology to people that are non-tech oriented. That is a business for sure.
You are awesome.
You're awesome. Thanks for being on the show. Hey, I love people, and we've got another guest, Pete Gustus. Welcome to the show. You're live on the air. How can I serve you?
Hey, Marshall. Nice seeing you again. So, my ask is more for the common person, because I know a lot of people listening, they're looking for the challenges that they have, not just something I would need. And as a real estate agent, it's kind of shocking that this happens at times, but we do fundraisers every year. Last year when we were doing our fundraiser, we're making phone calls. I got so much negativity, so many people talking about the bad things that are happening. And you can't completely blame them, but it's a simple fact of they're being upset because the market's shifting so bad and they're saying they're getting out of the industry. And so much news about many, many national companies and small businesses starting to close down. People are looking for other job opportunities. So my ask is, for these type of people, what do they need to do to find other employment or maybe find a new career path that would work for them?
I think that's good. I think, part of the challenge for people is I've never been fired from a job I wasn't ready to quit. And sometimes it's hard to admit that we're in the wrong place. And I think, what happened with the NRA and the realtors organization and all that they've gone through and shifting up commissions and everything that's going on, I think it's a good thing. And here's why. And a lot of people aren't going to like me saying this, and I might even lose some viewers, except if I lose a viewer that's pissed off enough at me to actually go do something that it'll be worth it. Most realtors aren't really realtors. They took the test, they got the business card, they hung the shingle, but they think that's enough for what they need to do to be in business. It's not. And so the ones that are doing what they need to do to be in business and making money and succeeding, those folks will keep doing, and they won't have a second thought. I've never been fired from a job I wasn't ready to quit. I've never had a business succeed that I know that I put everything I could into it. This broadcast is a good indication. I'm losing my tail every single day that we're live right now, because that's what happens in the beginning of a business. Often you got to figure out, how do we structure this? How do we communicate this? How do we get to our target rich environments? And often it's a matter of sampling the buffet. Yeah, I put the green Jello on my plate. Man, that doesn't taste good. I don't want any more of that. Let's never do that again. Yeah, I put the prime rib on my plate. Oh man, it's undercooked. It's not good. Way too bloody. I don't want that. Oh man, these ribs are delish. Man, these mashed potatoes are genuine. I love real mashed potatoes, and they're bright yellow, so they put my appropriate amount of butter on them too. So I don't think that people sample the buffet. And I think that that's the first question that's got to be answered, Pete, is I think that we've got to figure out, what would we do if we had all the money in the world? Even when we're broke, we've got to say, okay, what would I do with my life? And even when I became a hypnotist and I was doing shows in nightclubs where 5 people would show up in the course of the night, and I had to figure out how to do something entertaining for those 5 so that next week 7 people would show up, and the next week 10 people would show up, and battle it out until I had 1,500 people showing up on a Tuesday, and I'm putting $30,000 in my pocket as a 24-year-old in one night. That's the challenge. How do people find what they love? So rather than looking for the next money-making opportunity or the next job, they've got to figure out first what they love. Now, that said, we also have to eat. We also have to pay our bills. We also have to, have a roof over our head. So not only do I need to ask the question, what would I do if I had all the money in the world? The next question is, okay, this is what I would do, but I'm not going to be able to build this. If I had to rely on this broadcast to feed my children would starve today. They would literally have food on their plate taken away from them, because that's what happens when you launch a business. Except my kids trust me, my wife trusts me, I trust me, and I know that we're going to keep tweaking, we're going to keep figuring this out until we figure out what works. We're on Facebook right now. I see my Facebook Live has frozen again. I don't know why it's doing that. It's frozen 3 or 4 times since we started the broadcast. I'll figure it out. And when it freezes, we lose about 10 to 20% of our viewers, because they're on a particular platform that we have those viewers. You just got to do that. You got to understand that when stuff comes up, stuff comes up. And all you can do is deal with it. And then when we do that, it just gets easier and easier and easier. Anything else?
Nope. Yeah, that's it.
You're awesome. So great to hear from you. As always, you are one of my favorite people. You're also inner circle. And you haven't won 10 ounces of pure silver from me yet, have you?
Not yet. No.
Well, you actually are in good running today, because I believe Yana has also already won 10 ounces of silver. So if you're the only other one, guess what? You're probably going to
Nice. Amen.
We got one more call. We got one more call before I wrap up for the day. So I thank you for being on the show, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Sounds good. Nice seeing you.
Take care. Final call of the day. Another inner circle member seems to be the thing this morning. Randy Holden, you are live on the air. Welcome home.
Good morning, Marshall.
Always nice to hear from you. What is that poster behind you?
Oh, it's a cat hanging on for dear life.
I understand the mentality. So what's the question?
The question is about hypnosis, self-hypnosis. I've put hypnosis together with NLP, especially in a situation where I'm talking with other people. What I'm looking for is maybe a little bit of information from you on hypnosis, on being able to maybe get through something that I'm trying to get through. I'm scheduled in 2 weeks for heart surgery, something I've been dealing with for about a year, and I'm excited about it. But my business has suffered over the last year, and it's a block I need to get through.
And so what's the block?
The block is not being able to do all the things I want to be able to do, and I want to get back in the saddle, back on the horse. And
I can relate. Obviously, you and I have history. I love you deeply. I know that your
Thank you.
significant other passed a few years ago, and that's never easy because we love people.
Of
And
course.
so I know that you've gone through a lot of changes. So here's a couple things. I'm level 61. I turned level 62 this year. As you know, I had open heart surgery when I was 59, a couple years ago. And I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Ron LeGrand, who also went through heart surgery. And we were talking about it. And he said something to me. He said, Marshall, I've not been the same since I had heart surgery. And when he said that to me, it was spot on. I said, I agree. I'm not the same. I wish I was. I expected to come out as Tony Stark and be Iron Man and have my heart better. It's not
Really?
better. It's not better, but I'm alive.
Yes.
And yesterday was Easter, and we had family and friends and people over, and all I could think about all day long was, thank you that I got another Easter with my family, God. Thank you.
Yep.
And I realized that every day is a bonus day. And I asked two of the people that were guests at Easter yesterday. I said, I'm thinking about buying a $10 million building. It's a big purchase. I don't need the building. If I don't buy the building, I can do pretty much everything I'm doing anyway without owning the building. But I really want to own the building because I've wanted a building for live events, for shows, for seminars, for live production, to have a TV studio that we can walk into, be state-of-the-art place where anybody doing a seminar in Southern California will say, yeah, we want to go to Studio Money. And
That's
I
exciting.
asked them, what do you guys think? And both of them, said, hey, you should do it. They don't know me. Bottom line, we should do everything right now at this point of our life, Randy.
Yes.
We should take the biggest risks we've ever taken. And unfortunately, it's kind of inverse that as we mature, a lot of times people say, well, I need to be more careful and I need to not take so many risks and all this money has to last until I die. Well, I don't know about that. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think we should all be risking as we're older even more. And this is an unusual and probably unpopular message. And certainly Dave Ramsey would tell me, you can't afford it. And Susie Orman would be right there with him. But I just don't buy into that. I think that we should
I
play
agree.
bigger and bigger and bigger, because I don't want to die and go, God, you never did that thing, Marshall. That one thing that you said you wanted to do, you wanted to have your own facility and have it built out and have it be a legacy piece for you and your family and generations to come. You didn't do it because at one point you went, you know what, I'm too old. And I'm reminded, Randy, that when Erica, my beautiful bride, and I met, one of the questions she asked is, do you think you'll want to have babies? And I said, I always wanted to have babies, but I'm old now. And I was probably, 47 when she asked me. I said, I'm old now and I don't want my children to have an old father. And she didn't hesitate. She said, it would be better for your children to have an old father than to have a young one that was stupid. Well, I couldn't argue with it. She was right. And,
Absolutely.
now that I have kids and, my son's about to turn 13 and my, other son's 11 and my daughter's 9, I'm so glad I didn't miss this, even old. You know, there's some things that I'm not able to do on the same level that a man that was 20 years younger than me could probably do just fine. But there's wisdom that I have now that has saved my children from untold grief they don't even know they're avoiding, just because I'm smarter, I'm more patient, I'm you know, more well lived.
Absolutely. So my question really is, what does self-hypnosis look like? Do you use it?
Yes. So there's a, you know, Maslow's levels of competency. If you're familiar with those, there's
Yes.
unconscious incompetency. I don't know that I don't know. I don't know there's something to know.
Yes.
There's conscious incompetency, where I realize there's something I need to know that I don't know. So now I'm conscious of my incompetency. Next level is conscious competency. What is that? I know what I need to do. I can
Yep.
even do it, except I cannot do it without all of my focus, my tongue hanging out of my mouth, and takes everything I can to do it. That is conscious competency. Mastery is the next level. You ask me, do I hypnotize myself? Constantly, nonstop. I ask myself, is that true or is it hypnosis? Oh my God, you're 61 years old. You're thinking about buying a $10 million building. Why complicate your life? You could retire today, never work again, never change your lifestyle, live on the beach every day, watch your children grow up, have grandbabies. I could. And I would always be unhappy and dissatisfied and think that I let myself down. So you got to play, you know, at its highest levels. Do I hypnotize myself? Yes. I ask myself, does that belief serve me?
Yes.
So, you know, when I went to have my open heart surgery, they dropped me off. This is in the middle of COVID. So Erica wasn't even allowed in the hospital. And so she dropped me off curbside to go inside to have my open heart surgery. And it was 5 in the morning. There was a guy sitting on a bench right outside the entry doors to the hospital. And it was apparent he was either homeless or you know, didn't have any money. He had one shoe torn, jacket. It was clear that he didn't have any money. I keep $100 in my wallet for emergency. And I'm about to walk in, and my thought was, you know what? Normally you would just tip this guy. You're going in. Really, it's not about him today. It's about you. But I said, no, it's about you. Then give him the money. If it's about you and you might die, then let your last act that you did before you got on the operating table be something that blessed somebody else's life. And that's all I could think about was, you know, God, I don't know if I'm going to live. It's by your grace if I make it through this thing. But this person's going to have a better life this morning because I existed. And I think that that's the thing that we've got to keep coming back to is, are we making other people's lives better? Does our life matter? Is it a legacy moment right now? And my prayer is that our conversation right now will make a difference for you, give you greater courage as you're going in for heart surgery, give you a bigger determination. The world needs me. I need to do some really big things and be re-inspired in your business. I get lonely, and I know that you've been lonely, and I know that you miss Lee, and I miss Lee too, and I miss Lee because you miss Lee. And I also know that Lee is looking at you and your life right now and saying, Randy, you're not done. No, you got so much greatness that needs to get done, and I expect you to do it. Plenty of time for us on the other side later on. Go get busy right now. Go do it. You know he's saying that. I know he's saying that.
Yep.
So let's both listen.
Well, you inspire me. That's the reason I love to listen to you. I always feel better, Marshall, after I've listened to you.
Good.
And that's why I show up, you know, in Vegas from time to time. It's just that traveling right now is hard for me, and in 2 weeks that's going to be different.
I'm thinking about launching kind of a different kind of a program for all of our inner circle people, you know, 1,000 deep. I really want to figure out a way to get all of us to communicate better, because I
Yes.
agree. It's not just me that inspires you. It's the relationships too.
Oh,
It's
big time,
it's
big time.
Pete Gustis, who was just on here, and Yana, who was just on here, and all the people that are guests on this show, that again, together we got this. And people don't realize how profoundly motivated, how focused people are inside of the inner circle. Right before we got started, and I don't know this person's history, so I don't want to go into it and give them any more grief. Right before we started, somebody jumped on and gave a comment about our guest, and it was a derogative comment. And as you know, I don't do drama. And so all I said inside the comments is, hey, brother, you must be in the wrong place, or maybe you're confused. We don't do drama here. And I don't know what history you might have with my guest, but it's got nothing to do with my show. So please, no more of that, or we'll just bump you. We won't keep you here. And I think that that's the other thing. You know, I don't have any patience anymore. I really don't. I don't have patience with anybody that makes somebody else's life more miserable. If you don't like me, don't tune in. If you do like me, tell your friends. And I think that's the way we should.
This year I'm going to be 75, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. As we get older, it's like it's less baloney and more let's go.
Yep. Well,
the baloney is fine if you're 20.
Well, you and Pete are slugging it out for the 10 ounces of silver today. That's all I can say.
Outstanding.
So good luck to you.
Great.
Great to hear from you. You are totally loved. And anytime you want to reach out, I look forward to hearing from you.
Marshall, I love you. Thank you.
I love you too, Randy. Take care. Yeah, we have the greatest people. So we've had 3 guests today. We had Yana, we had Pete, and we just had Randy. You get to choose. You get to comment in the comment section on who you think was the most fascinating question. That person will win 10 ounces of pure Marshall silver. All you got to do is tell us, was it Yana, was it Pete, or was it Randy? And nobody guessed the secret word of the day. It certainly was quite subjective, and it was quite a random word. In fact, you might even call the word arbitrary. So since nobody won today, nobody claims the $6,500. That means tomorrow, 4-2, no joke, no lie, no April Fools. Tomorrow, $7,000 up for grabs. It's going to keep growing, $500 a day until somebody wins it, because that's what we do. We're millionaires. And I want it for you. I'm Marshall Sylver. That wraps up another Marshall Sylver Live show for the day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Until we chat, make it an awesome day. Bye for now. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Sylver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned.